to simplify all this complexity, let's just start at the beginning. And in the beginning, there was a human. And this human can have many products that he can create. He can have many businesses that he can create. He can work in many businesses. He has a social presence online if he chooses so too. He has a professional presence, which is online across multiple pages, depending on who and what he's doing, whether he's selling things, whether he's working at a company, whether he's the owner of a company. He's got professional pages out there, like LinkedIn, a great example. Next, we've got the machine world. What's the machine trying to do? It's trying to understand the context of what is being published online. The reason why it's trying to do this is to assess and verify who are the authority sources for this information and knowledge, products, and services. The big goal of the AI is to basically deliver the best result which it believes is most relevant to the answers that are currently being asked to the search engine. So if you actually look at that last sentence, it's a very, very important thing, because when you understand this, depending on what networks you use that belong to corporate organizations, you will get certain outputs coming back out of them. So for example, if we're using Google, we're feeding search results into the AI. Depending on how the AI is run, it delivers what it believes is the most relevant information to answer our question. That's the idea. So when you go to DuckDuckGo, you get some different results. When you go to Google, you get certain results. When you go to YouTube, you get certain results. When you go to LinkedIn, you get certain results. But the general idea is the concept's very, very simple. The machines are trying to understand the context of what is being published online, and they're binding it to a person who can have many products, many businesses, multiple social presences online. It's connecting all the dots and it's bringing everything back together to source. Right, so the reason why you guys are here is because you want to learn how to build websites. You're looking for technology that gives you an edge. You want to improve your online sales. You want to get more traffic. And you want to learn more about funnels or selling digital marketing blueprints. But if we look at really what's behind all of these activities that we're doing is to get more customers. That's the basic foundation. And at each stage of this funnel, we have to have different words that we speak to these people about. The same applies to when we talk about site architecture. Now, a lot of people like to get into the real technical things and debate that their way of building sites is the best. I'm not going to be doing that in this course. I want to give you the fundamental framework to start making your own decisions based on fact and verifiable things that are proof. Okay, so we're going to test and measure everything, and we're going to basically build the sites in a very, very smart way. The very first thing I want to make clear when we use the Keyword Qualification Matrix is, even though we use words like keywords, what we're talking about in fact is language. What we're talking about is the context of the topic or the conversation that we're going to basically engage in. Okay, the Keyword Qualification Matrix is to enhance our topical and contextual relevance, and when we do this, we qualify traffic. That's the important thing. So let's look at how this works. The Keyword Qualification Matrix basically is built around keyword qualifiers, and in this framework we have 4 qualifiers, essentially description, type, purchase intent, and location. When we work with these 4 qualifiers, what this does is allows us to construct phrases that by default segment and pull the right kind of traffic to us. Why does this happen? It's because of people's search intent, their frame of mind that they're at that point in time. When we start using the right words that are language bound, that either give them verbs or actions to do, these keywords trigger things in the person's mind, which then helps them follow a train of thought. Now, if you're putting the wrong words in, you're going to trigger the wrong type of emotions. 2 things are going to happen. 1, the machines are not going to understand exactly what you're saying, so they'll guess. Remember, the machine decides what results it gives you back. And 2, the person that you're speaking to is not going to really connect with you. So, to make things very simple, memorize these 4 qualifiers: the description, the type, the purchase intent, and location. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to walk through each one of these and explain to you very shortly what it means and how it functions. So the very first thing we're going to look back is the description. Now the description basically specifies what people are looking for. So when you think description or descriptor, think in your mind, what does this person want? What is he looking for? So that when you look at the page, when you look at results, when you look at your competitors' websites, when you look at information, when you watch videos, you actually can start seeing if that information or that media type is speaking to the person. People typically with money will type in best, limited, luxury, world class, spacious, waterfront, exclusive, VIP. Do you see the language? When you see these words in your mind, what does it actually bring forward? What do you feel? When people don't have money, cheap, first home, small, free, discount, hacked, torrent. How do you feel when you see these words? So when we're using descriptors, we can basically segment them and say, what do the do's have and what do the don'ts have? How do they speak? When we do that, that gives us a lot of powerful ways to trigger the emotions that we need to trigger when we're speaking to certain people. The next thing we want to look at is type. Now, when we speak about keywords or keyword lists, all it is a list of words that have basically metrics on them. That's what keywords are. It's a keyword, it's got 10,000 searches, there's so many competing pages. What does it really mean? These are what we call type keywords, okay? And typically any kind of keyword that you come out of a machine are classified as a type. Why do I do that? The reason why I do this is because I need to identify the objects, the things that people are actually looking for. So this is very, very important. It's a big distinguishing point between a descriptor and a type. So if we look at this, you'll see searches are looking for specific things like apartments rather than houses, land, offices, flats. Type keywords, which is a number 2, pay attention to the 1, 2, 3, 4, because we're going to utilize these numbers in the framework to create combinations of keyword phrases. The purchase intent specifies what type of transaction the person is wanting to do. So if they want to buy, we can use for sale, purchase. If they want to hire, we'll use rental, rent. You see the difference? Can you notice how just those few words there change the intent of that search query or that keyword phrase? Last thing, location. For the guys doing local SEO, working on local businesses, people are going to specify where they want the object. The object can be a product, it can be a service, it can be a thing, it can be a bit of information. In locations, typically we focus on geographical locations or places of interest. This is where we want to localize the search query and want to attract people that are going to a specific point or place or a location. When we start using combinations of these different qualifiers within our keyword research, and we start thinking in this format where we are placing different words in the 4 qualifiers, it gives us the qualification matrix where we can speak to cold traffic, we can speak to warm traffic, and we speak to hot traffic. Now, the next part of the qualification matrix, what it does is it helps us assess where we need to put certain keywords at certain parts of our structure. When we speak about markets, we speak about words that are typically 1 or 2 words. The traffic there is vast. There's a lot of people, there's a lot of traffic, there's a lot of things that move through that band. If I want to rank for apartments, do I want to rank for apartments across the whole world? It's impossible. You won't be able to do that unless you spend a lot of money. You build up big networks, you join businesses, and you start dominating the actual network. So if you look at news media, there's conglomerates that own certain companies that broadcast the information out. They always pitch a certain type of story. People who are subscribed to their story believe that narrative. It's the way of the internet. It's how things work. So when we work with markets, we're typically looking at cold traffic because it's big, it's broad, it's vast. And of apartments, we can start binding things on the prefix or the suffix on the left, on the right of this word to start qualifying what type of traffic or conversation do we want to have about apartments. The next thing we're going to look at is essentially market segments. Now at this level, this is where the words go from 2 to 3 word phrases. And when we get to this level, the way we can qualify these keywords, now pay attention here, we can use the descriptors, the types, the purchase intent, the location. With the different combinations, we can create different words. So if we take descriptor and type, I want a luxury apartment, I want luxury apartments, I want to buy one, I want to buy many. I'm using the combinations of 1 and 2. 1, 2. Apartments for sale, I'm using combinations 2 and 3. Type and purchase intent, 2 and 3. Apartments in Melbourne, 2 and 4. So it's type and location. Over here we've created market segments that we can target in our site architecture, our silos, and our category URLs. Silos and categories are basically your first tier within the domain. So before it's domain.com/, luxury apartments, or you can have apartments as the silo / luxury apartments, family apartments, 2-bedroom apartments. It doesn't matter what you say there. Those type of words, market segment level words, typically sit high up in your architecture. It's good to use them in your URL structure, and it's also good to have them as forming parts of your titles and your H1 tags or H2s or H3s as we move down. So let's go down the chain as we look at different things. Now we get into the themes. So we come from a market, we've broken that market into market segments, and now we're down at the theme level where we're looking at 3 to 4 word phrases. And once again, you can see the qualification of the traffic. If we want to get warmer traffic and we want to increase our reach but exclude certain things that we don't want, we can start saying, okay, cool, we want to have New York apartments for sale, 2, 3, and 4, 2, 3, and 4. Buy New York apartments online, again, 2, 3, and 4. Apartments for sale in New York, 2, 3, and 4. This is where at the theme level. So we can actually specify where the location is. We can specify the town that the thing is in. We can specify the intent. Where we use different combinations such as 1, 2, and 4, where we got New York waterfront apartments. So people want to live on the water. Luxury apartments in New York. People who want to have exclusive, probably very, very 5-star type of accommodation. Spacious New York apartments. People who need space. They might have a big family. Can you see how this changes the meaning of that actual word? But if we look at this, we're getting very, very close to where certain groups of people are wanting to get those things that we are talking about. Another example of themes, we can use the combination of 3 and 4 only. World class apartments for sale. Apartments for sale over a value. That's using 1, 2, and 3, and 4. Now we're mixing the descriptor into the whole mix. So this is becoming very, very powerful when you actually start thinking about this. Now, intent keywords is where we basically use the full combination, and this is where we use this in the titles and the headlines. We start specifying very, very specifically what this page is all about. What is the site about? Because every page we create in a site creates a theme, and that theme creates the context of what that whole domain's about. By using the keyword qualification matrix and using the different combinations, we can qualify the traffic that we're looking at very, very efficiently, which means we can build more focused sites that are targeted specifically for an audience. So to wrap up the keyword qualification matrix, I'm basically going to take you under the hood and show you how the machine world looks at your content. And this is going to take us into the topics of entities, sentiment, and the syntax of your structure of your site, and how you construct your words, as well as the categorization of your content. And it's very, very interesting when you see this, but it'll give you a good insight of how search engines see what we're doing. So now that you see that when we use the keyword qualification and we start describing very specifically using the descriptors, the types, the purchase intent, locations, we can better qualify our traffic. And when the search engine reads a document or listens to our video and reads a transcription, or uses facial recognition to look at the images that we put on our site to assess what they are, very, very quickly it can build up a profile. And if you look at this here, you can see that there's a lot of gray words that it throws out, but it is highlighting key topics within the structure, and these are called entities. These are the main talking points within the document. It looks at sentiment, it looks at syntax, it looks at the categories. So if we jump across and we actually look at the sentiment, what you're going to see is it's scoring each sentence structure that we build. It gives us a score. So if the score is positive, we get a higher point. If it's not clear, we get a lower point. It goes amber. And red, it's negative. We're saying negative things. So the stuff you need to do to make this happen, what does that mean? It's an ambiguous sentence. The stuff you need to do is giving it a negative sentiment. So we can come in and clean this up and use this. So that's what sentiment's all about. So are you starting to see and understand why we've developed the keyword qualification matrix? It's because the better information we feed into the system, the better result of traffic that's qualified comes back out to us. The better we construct our stories using the right keywords from the matrix, the more qualified traffic is going to come back to us. Because remember, the AI is bound by the laws of language. The better for you to find your topic, the more you clarify your subject, the better your sentence structure is, the better results you will see. And you'll see how this works. The reason why people don't succeed and they have a lot of problems and they get too much caught in the technical where they start analyzing every fine little detail, the problem that they're going to always come up against is ambiguous content. If you're not clear on what you're trying to say, the search engines will guess what it is. And based on their guess, the search engine is going to give the best results that it wants. And many times it means you being excluded out because it doesn't know what you're about. Or the filters are pushing you into the wrong compartment. It's an easy fix. By clarifying your content, you can move your sites up in the rankings. So if you look at this, computer says no. If it doesn't know what you're doing, and you can see the connections, where we got a noun is insights, understand, too easy, discover, help you quickly, the best route, routes a noun, the best route. Can you see that? The choice is simple. What's the simple? Work smarter, not harder. So for work, you want simple work. Can you get the idea of how, as the document's being read by the search engines, it's actually categorizing absolutely everything. It's looking at the entities. What's this associated with? So when you come to local SEO, the entities become important. When you come to selling a product or a service, defining what it is and how it helps a person becomes important. It's all about the language. So that's the keyword qualification matrix, guys. Use it to your advantage, and I'm glad that I've done this first before we start getting into DMT, because what will happen now is you're going to actually slow right down and stop and look at the information and understand the market and get the most out of the tool. Many guys want to just jump in the tool, press a lot of buttons, and then expect something magic's going to happen. Slow down. 80% of the work's done for you. Take that 20% that you have and focus on using the keyword qualification matrix to determine what's the best way to break into your market. Put that information to your digital marketing blueprint, document where your opportunities are, and then come up with a plan of how you're going to execute that. Remember, it's in the doing that you get the results, and by clarifying what you're saying gets you more results. So what we're going to do next is we're going to jump into 3 little methods that I've mapped out for you, showing you precisely how to do specific things in Digital Marketer's Toolbox.